Welcome, grammar students. Welcome to Lesson 24, Describer Clauses. In this lesson, we will review describers and learn about describer clauses. Describers and describer clauses. The little house is still standing. We know that little describes the house. Describers like this come before the noun that they are describing. The house on the hill is still standing. Prepositional phrases that come after a noun can also be describers. Now we are going to look at clauses that come after a noun and describe it. We call this type of clause a describer clause. The house is still standing. The house where she was born is still standing. Let's review what a clause is. A clause has a subject and a verb like a trunk, but it also has a clause word. Remember that a clause cannot stand alone. It depends on a trunk. Where she was born is a clause, so it needs to be joined with "this is the house," or it will fall. A clause that tries to stand alone is called a fragment and is unacceptable in writing. "This is the house where she was born" is correct. The clause "where she was born" depends on the trunk "this is the house." Clause words for describer clauses. The describer clause words for people are who, whom, and that. The describer clause word for location is where. Describer clause words for things are which and that. And for possession, use whose. That is very common because it can be used for people or things. All of these words have more than one job in English, but right now they are only introducing a clause. Where describes location. We have seen how where is used to join a describer clause to the word it describes. The subject is still everything in front of the X word. Don't confuse the main subject with the subject of the describer clause. That can describe things. The show is really good. The show that I have been streaming is really good. That describer clauses can describe things like a show. Whose describes possession. The man got a ticket. The man owns the car. Use whose to show possession. The man whose car is parked by the fire hydrant got a ticket. Describer clauses always come right after the noun that they describe. We have been looking at describer clauses in subjects, but they can also go after nouns in other places in the sentence. Here, the clause describes man and comes at the end of the sentence. Who and that for people. Who describes a person. The woman got $1,000. The woman who won the race got $1,000. That can also describe a person. The woman that won the race got $1,000. Did you notice that the subject in the describer clause is missing? We have the clause word who and the verb, but no subject. The woman won the race. The woman got $1,000. The subjects are the same. The clause word is doing two jobs, clause word and subject of the clause. You can see that the sentence, "The woman won the race," has been embedded in the other sentence. Leaving out that. Sometimes clause words can be omitted. This happens especially with the clause word that. I'd like the money that you owe me. I'd like the money you owe me. Be careful. You owe me is not a trunk. It is still a clause. It has the relationship of a clause to its trunk. The student who owes me money needs to pay it back. The second sentence is wrong. The student owes me money needs to pay it back. In this sentence, the clause word who can't be omitted because it is also doing the subject's job. In review, a describer clause describes the noun that it follows. Describer clauses are introduced by clause words that relate to the clause to people, locations, things, or possessions. The words are who, whom, where, which, whose, and that. If the subject of a trunk and the clause are the same, the clause word replaces the subject of the clause. The woman who won the race got $1,000. Who does double duty as clause word and subject. Sometimes that can be omitted. The girl I met at the party is in college. What should you do next? Read Lesson 24, do the exercises, and take the quiz. Try to use various types of describers in your writing to make it more interesting. Go on to Lesson 25, completer clauses.